to some extent, they play some role, but not strong role.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Since the whole target is just look at the some kind of the high capacity with the bargain. So
mm-hmm.
the country know their historical data and know the better one and know the worst one, so they can calculate the whole provincial level. So
mm-hmm.
the central government always calculates by sectors and by provinces. So
mm-hmm.
they need two data to match to each other.
Mm-hmm.
And at this time, I just talked with MEE the week before last week, and they also want to do the similar things
mm-hmm.
during the implementation.
Mm-hmm.
But during provided the NDC, that is a more national calculation with the consideration of the provinces.
Mm-hmm. So
only few of them join the discussion and bargain. So
okay.
to some extent, it's right, but.
Mm-hmm. But they do, which is new information for me, because I thought they weren't involved at all. But it's good to know that they are a little bit. So the one other thing that I'd find interesting here is because you were talking about how on the provincial level, not all provinces have the same analytic capacity. So how does that impact the sort of NDC formulation process? Does that mean that those provinces have less influence over the proceedings because they're less able to play a part, or?
That's true. Normally the strongest provinces or the capacity, it depends on different provinces' capacity. So, some strong capacity provinces, they have voice.
Mm-hmm.
But that's not, have the badly impact to the outcome of the equity and the effectiveness.
Mm-hmm.
That is China always, the central government can consider the best provinces and also the lack of the provinces.
Mm-hmm.
So the decision maker always goes to the best one, the difficult one, and find the provinces in the middle. Then they make the plan.
Mm-hmm.
Although someone did not speak anything on behalf of themselves, but they take the free trade.
Mm-hmm. No, so that's something that I heard from also the national level. The modelers that I was talking to, they said that you have 3 or 4 different modeling teams. They'll provide their models and they'll be arranged, and the government usually picks something in the middle. And they said, so if as a modeler you want to have an influence, if you want the ambition level to be higher, you present a more ambitious model, and you hope that the government goes, somewhat. If you want the government to do peaking by 2030, you write 2025, and then they maybe do 2030. A little more complicated than that, but I think it's interesting to hear that the government does a similar thing on the provincial level, because it indicates some sort of overall strategy for how to approach it, where you look at what's possible, a range of possibilities, and you try and pick a range that makes sense within that. Whereas there's a lot of other countries will set a definite absolute target, and then they don't consider sort of a more nuanced range of possibilities. So the one final thing that I would be interested in on the sort of analytic side is to what extent, especially because the provinces have to always report on their progress. So how much does this sort of, the last 5 years of implementing the first NDC, so reducing emissions intensity, for example, how much does that play a role, the sort of in reflecting and learning what the new possibilities are?
According to the system of the China is giving the allocation, the job, and they do the performance review, and local government reports to their data, and also central government based on the statistic bureau's data to reconfirm recalculate is that the data choose or not choose. So there is one process about that. And what we suggest for the next step is when we working with the local level, we're working with not only national level but also subnational level. We found that the dilemma, on one hand, that the central government have very strict performance review. That is a good case. Not just say it and not monitoring, not review. That is a good. But also because of that, the local government do not want to have an ambitious target. Mm-hmm. What we propose is giving the local government more flexible ways to achieve the ambitious target. Mm-hmm. For example, set the early picking and giving the chance for them to, like the emission banking. If mm-hmm. they use more, they can put it into their bank and using the next year. Mm-hmm. And they can, and using the market system, they can sell it using the cities or provincials as the entity body. Mm-hmm. They can sell it. So in that way, when the local government think about the new investment or new infrastructure, they will really think about compare what they are going to get the tax from the industry, and they maybe pay more money for the carbon emission. Mm-hmm. So in that way, the local MEE, local Ministry of Environment will not have so many pressures from the local government. Sometimes, local MEE, local environment agency always have the pressure from the local government. Since local government want to more investment, more industry, but how about the carbon? And they ask the MEE, local environment agency, to solve the problem, to ask more quota from the central government, mm-hmm. but give them the cap, the total amount earlier and more flexible. So that is a more efficiency to reallocate the resources. So that is based on the economic and market system. Mm-hmm. Only China can do right now, that the central government and local government, and mm-hmm. they have kind of the tax, and they have the budget for the local government, so they can use the power in the hand to do that.
So do you think that learning exercise, so realizing that strict performance requirements leads to lower ambition overall, and if you have more flexibility, you can actually have higher ambition? Do you think that's something that the government will change for the coming years?
We are proposed to do that, but I'm not sure. I push a lot and get some local government supporting. They say, wow, that's a fantastic idea. We want that. Mm-hmm. So we can ask them to also talk to the central government. Since, the performance review is really strict. If you cannot reach the benchmark, you will lose your kind of a, mm-hmm. So after so many years struggling on that position, then you lost that. So nobody want to take that risk. Mm-hmm. But if it's a more soft one and pay kind of the giving the reward to the better performance, that's a very good system.
Mm-hmm. So maybe just related to this, so that you do this as WRI, do other mm-hmm. organizations also, because this is sort of again related to this policy learning, and I would expect that the government themselves also have some kind of process where they consider the impact of previous policies and then use that to inform, like you've done with your proposal. Is there more, like apart from WRI, are there lots of other organizations that also sort of try and influence government to, sort of to what extent are stakeholders involved in trying to change the NDC process?
And there are plenty organizations working in different perspectives.